Welcome to my ANC TV, the final walk to freedom. I am now joined by the chairman of Reliance Life, Mr. Tebeila. Sir, welcome to my ANC TV.
Thank you.
Reading your profile, there were a lot of interesting things, but today I think as we're honoring Udada, I would like you to tell us about how he inspired you in establishing your first Black-owned insurance company.
Thank you very much. Well, Tata Madiba has played a great role in inspiring me towards getting into business alone.
Yeah.
So, which led, of course, to the establishment of the first black insurance company in the country. Mm. You will know that he is also the first president in the country.
Yeah.
He's the first democratic president in the country. So that inspired me a lot because when I grew up, and also when I grew up in a struggle, we have been always knowing that Madiba is in jail.
Yeah.
And have been working all the time, fighting, struggling to release Madiba from prison. Mm. And when he was released from prison, for us it was a dream comes true. Yeah. That all what we've been fighting for all the years now will come to fruitions. And that time when he was released, I was a teacher.
Okay.
And I remember when I was when they released him, the only money I have in my pocket was 20 rand. And with the 20 rand, I could still spend it to buy people who were longing to get into the mood of joy. Mm. And I had no option but to join them and buy what is supposed to be a joy. Mm. And we were all happy. But now that happiness, we never knew that it will lead into us to move out of the teaching fraternity into a business fraternity. And we get into business, and we run business. As a result of him being released from jail, as a result of him being jailed, as a result of him being tortured, as a result of him being sacrificing all his life because of us. We are here now today.
You know, one of the things that are important to Dada is education.
Yes.
Which I think it's something that you also passionate about. Tell us about how he inspired, because I know you were involved with the foundation as well, with the donation of, you know, you taking kids to school, giving them bursaries and.
Yeah, well, Dada Madiba has got a soft spot for children. Mm. It's got a very soft spot for education. Mm. Against all odds, he struggled himself to be educated. Yeah. And he was somehow privileged to be educated in a school which not many were able to go to that school. That's a missionary school, Black Party school. Mm. And because of that, through our foundation, the Tebeila Foundations, we found it befitting that we should go and plow back to the schools that he himself studied. And that's where he started Form 1 up to Form 3. And I was inspired again to learn that even Form 2, he did not do it. He skipped Form 2 because he was so brilliant. And the name, that's where it came from. That's where it came from as well. Now we said, you know what, we will go back to the school and make sure that we resuscitate that environment. We went to Blackberry, we built we built the science lab. Nice. The lab the school that he was in, we built that science lab as Tebeila Foundations, and again through the foundation, we again followed what inspired him, and what inspired him again was the love of children, and one of the things that he does, Madiba, and a dream that was always cherished to see happening when he's still alive. Was to build the hospital for the children, because the current hospitals, which are private hospitals, are quite expensive, and many families that Madiba was more focusing on, which mostly were the needy families, are not able to afford the fees at those hospitals. And he came up with a dream of building the hospital in his lifetime. As a foundation, again, we follow the track. We said, as a sign of saying thank you, Tata Madiba, we have to then contribute something to that particular initiative of building the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital. We put up the fund, we put up the capital, we planted the seed by putting some little money, that which you can afford, that says if we can at least buy one bed, because the beds are about 200 beds.
Okay.
If, as me, as an individual, as a one businessman, we participate in just building one, just financing one bed. Many will come in and finance those beds. So 200 will make 200 beds immediately. 2 billion, 1 billion will be covered. So we went in and we participated in that sphere. And in that again, we are saying to Tata Madiba, thank you, and we contributed to the hospital of Nelson Mandela with the Children's Hospital.
Is this how you are planning on keeping his dream alive?
This is how we are planning to keep his legacy and his dream and his vision, so that it does not die. That's why we keep on saying Mandela was born on this date, but his spirit, his legacy, will live on forever. So, and the only way for it to live on forever is for us to carry on with the baton, to carry on where he left, and to carry on with the dream that he would have loved to see happening in his lifetime.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I know you also have, Tata Mandela is a mentor to a lot of people.
Yes.
And I know he is a leader, one of the greatest leaders. And I know you have a business which is doing the same thing, you know, offering leadership and mentorship to young people.
Yeah, it's the same foundation, our foundation, which is not a business. Our business is only small mining, is more on insurance, which also the insurance basically is focusing a lot on the pensioners, which were also playing a great role in the heart of Madiba. He loved the elders. He loved the elders.
Yeah.
So we also created the whole thing again to touch his life. But on our program of Team Mandela Foundation, yes, we are with partnerships with many companies outside, many foundations outside the country. We develop leadership, and we are saying, South Africa, gave birth to the leader by the name of Nelson Mandela. And if you focus on building, on creating an environment of creating more leaders, it's far much better. Then we'll have more of Mandelas to come in future. Even if they cannot be the stature of Mandela, but at least they can contribute to a percentage of being somewhere next to the value of Mandela. So we then established this foundation to focus again on leadership development.
Did you meet Utatu Mandela yourself?
I've met Utatu Madiba several times.
Oh, I'm sure.
I had a lunch with him.
Okay.
And the lunch came in also as a surprise. When he was turning 20 years, when he was celebrating basically 20 years of being released from prison, I was one of the first to celebrate before the public can celebrate what we call that release. So I had lunch with him, and I think it was about 91 or yes. But we had that dinner together, not dinner, lunch together, a family lunch together with my family together. Okay. So it was wonderful, a wonderful moment to also share with him and things that come from the elders and telling us exactly the life in the past, the life in the present, how you want to see all of us as young people going forward. We're sharing with him. In that time, obviously, some say he was already above 90 years. He was still in 20 years being released from prison.
So what's your most memorable encounter with Utatu?
My memorable encounter was that, in fact, was in 93. Okay. Again, before he became president. Yes. And when he came to our province, I come from Limpopo province. Okay. When he came to our province, obviously, like any other person, we were all happy that we were going to receive Madiba in our province. Just came from prison. We were working towards national elections. He was not even acting as a president. He was still ANC president without pay. When he came to our province, the first thing that we did, I went to him, I shook his hand.
Yeah.
And I said hello that time. I greeted him, and then we started to chat. And then I expressed myself how I really been longing to see him and to shake his hand and just to see him alive and just to see him in real life. And he expressed himself again as also the way he's been longing to see me. He's been longing, but doesn't know me. But I know him. But he has made me to feel that, in fact, I'm so important. One thing about Madiba is that when anybody that he meets, he does not show that person that he is more important than that person. He always show himself to be more like inferior or a younger person, less important than the same person that he's going to meet with. So he made me to feel more important than him, whereas I saw him as more important. That's what you call humility. Yeah. His humility was the one that humbled me, and I said, "What? This man is something else." It's just, but we are. How do you say to a person, "You are the one that were longing to see me," whereas we know the world has been wanting to see me. So then it's that not to relax. Then we feel at home. Then we can express ourselves. Yeah. So that's my first encounter with him.
I'm sure there's a lot of stories that you can tell.
There's a lot of stories that you can tell about him. Yes.
Yeah, but I want to thank you very much for your time. We don't have enough time, but thank you very much for your time and sharing your personal.
But thank you very much also for allowing us as Reliance Insurance, the first black insurance company in the country, to also participate in this. In the farewell of the great man, and participating in this kind of lounge, and then having to put all the kind of resources across the country to make sure that Madiba is resting in peace properly.